Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Nana bringing you a movie review for Project Hail Mary, starring Ryan Gosling and introducing James Ortiz, who's been in a handful of movies, but I don't think you've probably seen him in much, if anything, unless you happen to follow him personally. He voices and puppets Rocky the Alien. This movie is about the Earth being in jeopardy of dying because the sun, our sun, is being eaten by a fictional algae-like substance called astrophage. That's right. This was a novel originally written by a person that I can't remember the name of right now. And that's okay, because as you know, I don't read a whole lot, but I do love movies. Moving on. Anyways, so the sun is starting to die, and the Earth basically has about 30 years until a quarter of the population will be wiped out, and everyone will be fighting over rations for food and resources and everything. So they got to send these astronauts on a mission into space to try and figure out how to fight the astrophage by finding the one and only star within a really long ways that is not being killed by the astrophage. That's right. It's an infestation. This astrophage stuff is spreading around the galaxy and killing stars all over the place, and they are starting to die. And we got to figure out what's going on, how this other one is surviving, and what do we use from there to defeat this awesome thing that is taking over us. So Ryan Gosling plays a middle school science teacher who basically, as a last resort, has to be an astronaut to go help save the planet. He's also accompanied by two other astronauts, one of those being Milana Vayntrub, who you know as the AT&T girl. That's right, she's finally in a movie. Now, we don't get to see her the way we'd want to see her, and that's okay. It's still a fun movie. Moving on. They do get out and into space, and they're on their way out there, but they get there, and two of the astronauts have died. Now, I'm not really ruining anything for you because it happened in the first few minutes. In fact, that is one of the highlights of this movie, in my opinion, is that they jump right into the space-time and travel right away. It's kind of a cold open style. You're already in space. He's already in space. You've joined Ryan Gosling on the spaceship, and that's where the storytelling begins. You get to know him rapidly, and you have the same questions that he does, actually, when he first wakes up from hypersleep. So, a very fun story, getting into it. Again, the way they hop right into the action makes it, I think, a lot more palatable, because if you have to take an hour to build up the story and talk about what's going on in the galaxy first, that might kind of make people doze off. This did the exact opposite. It pulls you right into the emotion, right into the action. You're already invested in this character. It jumps to show him as a middle school teacher. So there are a lot of technically flashbacks. Yeah, they're flashbacks, right? There's a lot of them. But it provides exposition by showing instead of telling. Some of the time, there's a healthy balance between the two. So they show a lot of exposition, they tell a lot of exposition, and that's okay. The rule of thumb basically is show, don't tell, but in this movie, they do a lot of that in the same style that Interstellar and The Martian did, where he's journaling videos, sending them back to Earth, or intending to send them back to Earth, explaining exactly what's going on with him, what's going on with his new alien friend Rocky, who we find out later, after doing some research, has been in this spot for 46 years trying to solve the exact same problem. I don't think I included that information earlier, but if you watch the trailer, it's a giveaway. The other alien is also, their star is dying, and they're at the same spot trying to figure out the exact same thing. These two characters balance really well, and through exposition, they explain, and you figured this out anyways, but they show you that Ryan Gosling's character, Grace, there we go. Grace is the last name. He goes by Grace for pretty much the entire movie. That is his last name. He meets up with Rocky, and Rocky's son is also dying. And that's their mutual conflict. That's the problem that they both are running into here, is they have to save their own stars. It's a very interesting meeting at first because, of course, technically both of them are aliens to each other. So they got to figure out if one is trying to kill the other. They have to meet up. They have to start communicating. And they both do an absolutely amazing job of figuring out how to communicate with each other. Thankfully, Rocky can already understand English somehow. We're not exactly sure how. It might break that down in the novel, but the movie doesn't really explain that. On the other hand, Mr. Grace he has to work very, very hard to work on a translation system in his laptop, designing, we'll say utilizing the software that he has to figure out how to turn the sounds that Rocky is making into human language. And he basically assigns words to the sounds that Rocky is making. It's a really clever way of doing it. And after not too long, it says that he's created 250 words of language, and he keeps building on this language. So in addition to trying to go through all the science and trying to figure out how this astrophage can be killed, he also has to break down a complete language barrier and continue to build that language back up so they can communicate. It's an absolutely fantastic movie. Again, it's sci-fi, obviously. If you're not into sci-fi, then you're probably not going to like it. There are a lot of emotions, a lot of ups and downs. It will make you laugh. It'll make you cry. It'll make you get kind of frustrated at certain points, but thankfully they don't really do that too much. There's not a whole lot of parts where you're like, that's stupid, why would you do that? There is some ambiguity throughout the movie where you go, I gotta kind of turn my blinders on for a second and accept that this is happening in the movie, which of course is called suspension of disbelief. If you don't know that already, that is a term. I learned it a couple of years ago. I love it. It's utilized all the time, and most people don't even know it when they're watching the movie. Moving on. So I highly recommend this movie. I'd say definitely go see it. It brings in a lot of emotion. There is one part of the movie, I don't want to give anything away, but it was one of my favorite parts because if you're really paying attention to the character and how he feels, it doesn't spend a lot of time doing it, but he reaches a very sad part where he starts to sulk. And he deserves to. There's some information that was brought to him later in the movie. Again, you'll see it. And when he reaches that, he has to then question his own character, his own bravery, and whether he's even worthy of being on this mission. So it's very much what's it called, hon? What? Where you feel like you can't do the thing. It's where you feel like... Imposter syndrome. There we go. He gets some imposter syndrome, pretty bad. Kind of takes over him for a little bit, but it doesn't really hold him back. And that's a good thing, but maybe they could have spent a little more time on it. But it is a really good scene. Again, if you're paying attention to how his character behaves and some of the ways he acts and ways that he feels, it'll be really important when you're watching the movie, and that'll click for you, and you'll see that how he's feeling in that moment, and you'll probably be able to empathize with what he's going through because maybe you went through something similar. Again, very funny, very clever. Ryan Gosling's character is on point. He is kind of nonchalant about things, but that's why his character makes a good fit for this trip, because he's not too high-strung. He's not overly passionate. He's not somebody who is going to freak out in space necessarily. Ryan Gosling nails the character and does an absolutely amazing job all throughout the movie from beginning to end. I wouldn't change one thing about how he acts and what his character does. Rocky is awesome. There are a lot of funny parts throughout the movie, mostly from sarcasm. Not like funny, not like they're constantly pulling jokes, but of course these two do have to communicate at some point, so sarcasm becomes part of the thing. Language barriers can create misunderstandings, and those misunderstandings can sometimes be funny for us as the audience. And of course, they make fun of certain things, make fun of certain misunderstandings at the same time. So it is about 2.5 hours, 3 hours long. It's a very long movie, but it's worth sitting through. It's worth seeing all the action and enjoying the science fiction nature of it, that these things aren't real, but they very well could be, and it's very relatable in a lot of ways. So I say get out. Go have fun. See it in IMAX if you can. Maybe even see it in 3D. I don't know if they're showing it 3D anywhere. I'm sure they are, because 3D is still a thing, and I love it. But whatever you do, get out, go see it, enjoy it, see it with loved ones, let your emotions take over, really get into the movie, and just have fun. In the meantime, keep your popcorn buttery, keep that soda full, keep getting out to the theater, and go have a good time. I love you guys so much. See you next time.